So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came in, and his uncle told him what the delegate came in and told him. He says, Wallahi, I have something better than what they're asking for. Will I not tell you a word that the تدين لكم العرب تخضع لكم العرب وتدين لكم العجم. Will I not tell you something that the Arabs will subside to you and the non-Arabs? I'm talking Muslims and non-Muslims. Of course, it has nothing to do with this, but what's what it meant. Meaning that because the Muslims were only at that time in the Arab Peninsula. But then the non-Muslims, others outside of that, will be paid jizya. They will actually pay you the jizya for them if they don't want to become Muslim. Obviously, they just pay the taxes. And that's another proof that we don't force anyone. Obviously, the three options. One, to fight if you do not let us give the da'wah and not at least hear about the words, the truth. If people oppress you, to do what? To listen to only one side and not the others. We give you a chance to listen to make an informed decision. If not, then you're free. You can do whatever you want. After that, it's your choice. You just pay taxes. This is proof that Islam was not, again, spread by the sword and not forced with anybody else to believe in it. So he said that, will I not tell you, even this offer sounds good, you leave me alone, I leave you alone, but will I not teach you something? One word, like these sentences, the words that will give you the honor in the Arabs, and everyone else outside will come subside to you and pay you taxes, is أن تقولوا لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله. That's it. Very simple words. But they still refused. Again, I reiterate, my brothers and sisters, that nothing is heavier than the scale according to hadith than what Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says. The best thing that I and the Prophets and Messengers before me said is La ilaha illallah. There is no deity except Allah subhanahu wa jalla fi'ulah. And again on Judgment Day, remember that word, akhi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be asking us about these words. And then somebody will be calling, and it's, what would you do to stay away from the hellfire and enter Jannah? He says, I will pay everything. He says, we asked of you less than that. تَقُولُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ فَأَبَيْتُمْ. Just to say La ilaha illallah and you refused. So hold on to it. And obviously he said now he's not gonna change his mind. He's gonna continue what he's doing. So let's cut our loss and just leave. And that's exactly what they did. They turned around and walked away. And we continue on. It was a very big hit. And people now, knowing that after Abu Talib died, they started to become more violent with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. They started to throw dust in his face. And he says, مَا نَالَتْ مِنِّي قُرَيْشْ مَا نَالَتْ إِلَّا بَعْدَ مَا مَاتَ أَبِي طَالِبٍ. Quraysh did not take of me or actually abuse me or harm me more than ever, more than before death of Abu Talib, my uncle. And now, it is narrated that he died in the 10th year, and it was around Ramadan. But a few days after, 3 or so, it is in different narrations, somebody else is coming to an end. Imagine the one that comforted your soul. Imagine the one that you run to in a time of calamities. Imagine the one that you have as a shoulder to cry upon. Imagine the one that helped you when no one else wanted to help you. Imagine the one that believed in you when nobody else did. The one that you run to as a best friend. The one that you divulge your secret with. The one that you actually give your secrets and all your sorrows and sadness, you share it with. That comforting soul is now coming to an end. Jibreel alayhi salam descends down to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam and saying, As-salam yuqri'uka as-salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is greeting you, O Muhammad alayhi salam. Khadija is coming to you with some food and water. Greet her and tell her that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving her a castle. It has a beautiful castle in heaven, min qasab. لا نصب فيها ولا وصب. It is a beautiful castle for her waiting in Jannah. There is no harm after this. There is no illness after this. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was affected very much so. He loved her very much. It was a big blow to lose his uncle, Abu Talib, the one in our means of this world, that the one that he protected, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used them as means to protect Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now that the one that he loved so much, that helped him also with her wealth, is coming to an end, very difficult indeed. And now she's coming to the end. And after she died, radiallahu anha wa ardaha, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam cried in abundance, sadness. That's why it was called Aam al-Huzn, the year is sadness. I understand there is some of the opinions of scholars that actually Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sad for the purpose that he was not able to continue the da'wah, not just because of the death of his uncle and the death of his beloved wife, Khadija radiallahu anha, but because he could not continue the propagation, the da'wah. Imagine how much he loved da'wah. Yes, of course, he loved his uncle and he loved his wife dearly. No one comes close. Even Aisha radiallahu anha later on, as you will see, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to talk about Khadija radiallahu anha. And remember the good traits and the good characteristics and how much he loved her. So Aisha radiallahu anha, a woman, she was jealous. She says, Ama abdalak Allahu khayran minha. Didn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you something better than her? Meaning herself, of course. Most of us brothers, what would we do? If your wife asks you this question and you were married before and your wife died, she's not around to, or it's not like your second wife. Your wife is dead. May Allah give him long, righteous, healthy life, inshallah. But your wife, the first wife is dead, and you married a second wife, and now your second wife is saying, didn't Allah give you something better than your first wife? What would you say, akhi? Of course you would say, yes, of course, honey, you're much better than the first one, you had no choice. But Prophet Muhammad says, La wallahi ma abdalani Allahu khayran minha. Nay, by Allah, Allah did not give me something better than her. Loyalty, akhi, knowing what she did, remembering that, not forgetting that. He says, by Allah, she gave me when everyone deprived me. She believed me when no one believed me. She helped me when no one else would help me. Wallahu razaqani minha al-walad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted most of the children from Khadija radiallahu anha, except of course as we know that ARY Qtv was Ibrahim alayhi salam. Of course they died, but most of the children and all of them except from Khadija radiallahu anha. And she was 65 years old. Subhanallah. Married to her for 25 years. She was 40. And now Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is 50 years old. Loyalty for 25 years. And that is, I know that there are some of the scholars say, prove that this is, I'm not going to go into the, ta'addud and not, which is one as the asl and the sunnah. It's not on the fiqh issue. I know what opinion I go with, but it's not our topic. But now Prophet Muhammad ﷺ misses her dearly. And the reason for it is obvious. And he started to remember what she did and what she done. And now he started to look for somebody else to carry this banner. And the people now, they used to come and throw the dust in his face. And one of his daughters, it's not narrated here which one of his daughters, may Allah be pleased with all of them, to come in and wipe the dust off his face. Can you imagine as a young daughter to see your father being humiliated like this? And people throw dust in their face. And you come as you young little girl, come crying and wipe the dust off your father's face. He says, La tabki yabnatah. Do not cry, O my daughter. Inna Allah a'asim yabak. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will protect your father. That's the yaqeen, again, the beauty of it. So he started to go and trying to look for propagation somewhere else. And it was actually, he was going to the Ta'if. He did not want to stop da'wah. And among the scholars will tell you actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to assure us that da'wah will not stop, even though the two means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put on the face of the earth to protect Prophet Muhammad sallam, meaning physically and financially. Physically, the protection of Abu Talib, of the tribe and the manpower of his tribe. And the wealth that comes from Khadija radiallahu anha. If you take that away, it's very difficult for you to continue with the da'wah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to teach us a lesson. It's not because of the protection of Abu Talib. And it's not because of the money of Khadija radiallahu anha. It is not that. Yes, we take the causes. But believe it or not, akhi and ukhti, the scholars will tell you that your limbs, your senses is linked to the ittikhad al-asbab. You link to it. You do your best. To do what? To put your effort, you plan your causes, you study, you do your homework. If you want to prepare for a job, you do your resume, you look on your website, you use the vision, mission statement, who the CEO, what they're looking for, you do all of that. This is called ittikhad al-asbab. But they say al-qalb, موصول بالله مقطوع عن الأسباب. But your heart, أخي and أختي, is linked to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cut off from the asbab. Meaning that you don't go into a job interview thinking that this man will give you the job, or this woman, oh, because I know this person. La wallahi, it comes from Allah subhanahu wa jalla fi'ulah. Now this is one of the greatest lessons learned in ibar wa idhat, ya akhi, wisdom behind this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this deen will go whether we have the nusra or not, whether we have the victory or whether we have the support physically from the manpower or even the means from others. But the deen went on, and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Taif, continuing the da'wah, the never-ending quest to preach Islam, the message. And then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam met with difficulties. Met with the people that did not believe in his message, but only to find even the young, sufaha, these, not the ilyat al-qawm, not the honor of society, that's just the average person, now starting to harm Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, throwing things, calling him names. Even the little kids, they used to actually go behind after him with little pebbles, throwing it at his feet till he's bleeding on his feet. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Ya akhi and ukhti, how difficult it was for him to bring you Islam, and how difficult for us to hold on to it. Wallahi, it should be easy for us, my brothers and sisters. Akhi and ukhti, after this, there's a beautiful story. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after he did not get what he wanted, was looking for in a Taif, it was on the way back that he actually sat under the shade of a tree in a garden that belonged to two, even though they didn't believe him, but they knew who he was. They sent a man to him called Addas. He says, here's qutaf min inab, here's some grapes, go give it to him. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam accepted, but he reached for it and he says, Bismillah. And this man Addas was the first time or for him to hear the word Bismillah. He says, Ma hadha al-qawl, I've never heard of it before. He says, this is what we do as Muslims, we eat. We will continue inshaAllah with that story in the episode after this. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who listen, speech and follow the best of it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.